Okay, hello Shreya.
Hello, Roya.
It's really nice to have you here today. It's really cool because in my experience also this is the first time that I'm having this friendly chat like in front of the camera thing with someone. So we just want to get to know you a little better. That's why I have prepared some questions to ask you, and I would really like to get to know you, to see how things go in your country, to know about your experiences, especially that will be very useful for our learners. Okay, so let's start with just introducing yourself.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for having me here today.
Sure.
It's lovely being here. I'm Shreya, and I am 25 years old, and I come from Kathmandu, Nepal, which is also the capital of my country. And I am here for my master's study. I'm studying integrated urban development and design along with you, and it's been 6 months now. I'm in the second semester, and living in Weimar, Germany has been a really fun ride. Yeah, that's it.
So how do you like the city so far?
I love the city. I've been to neighboring cities and also to Berlin, but I prefer Weimar because it's more sophisticated and it feels like everything is slower here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like the city is sparkling clean, and then there are old people and you see them and then you think of yourself like what you could be when you retire and become old, just having ice cream by the city center. And yeah, I really like the vibe.
It was the first thing that I noticed, that this place is really peaceful and calm.
yes.
And you see lots and lots of old people.
They walk with their dogs, and then sometimes their grandchildren or their partners, and then they go shopping, and then they have ice creams. They're always eating something. And I live right in the city center, and every time I come out of the house, there's this ice cream place, and they're having this big sundaes, and it's like, wow, like this is the life I want to have.
Exactly. And they really, some of them, I mean, I wouldn't say all of them, but some of them really like talking. There was this couple, I remember, the old couple that I was trying to buy honey, and I didn't know which one is a better brand or a better type, but they came to me, they said, "Das ist super. You should take this one." It was really nice.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little about your future or the plans that you have. I mean, do you also see your future here in Weimar, or maybe generally in Germany? What do you think?
Yeah, not particularly in Weimar because there aren't much opportunities here, but I feel like after graduating, I would love to work in Germany, maybe in a bigger city, not exactly Berlin, but maybe somewhere else that is more German, so that I can be integrated into its culture rather than being an international. I just want to work here for a few years and then think about what I want to do later, because I also want to go back to my country and contribute in some way. But after I have some amount of money with me, maybe. Yeah, I went there for 3 days, and I spent my time mostly in the not so attractive part of Berlin, because the hostel was right there and I would move around it, and it was mostly like a slum. And I also didn't like the vibe the city gave, because like I like seeing the sun, but even when there's sun in Berlin, you don't actually see it because the buildings are so high, and then the streets look mostly shaded and it just feels colder. Even though the people there, they spoke in English all the time. And then I would hear people like, I don't think they were from Berlin, they must be from outside. They were like, yeah, Berlin has the New York vibe. And going through the metro and everything, it just felt too much, because I've never lived in such a big city, and then Weimar is so small, you get everywhere by walking, and the most is like you take a bus. But in Berlin, you had to take metro to go from one place to the other. It's the same city.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a very huge city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but some people just like that aspect. So when exactly did you start learning English?
I've been learning English my whole life. Ever since I was admitted to my first grade, which was the nursery class, we had 3 subjects, which were English, Nepali, and math. like imagine a kid of nursery is learning English and Nepali at the same time. So like as much as I learned my own language, I was learning English as well at the same time. So I've been trained my whole life to be an international person.
How did it feel? I mean, when you had to do two languages, how was it?
Yeah, in my country there are two types of schools. The first one is the government school, which basically has everything taught in Nepali except for the English language. And there are boarding schools in which I studied. And in those schools, you have to speak in English. You have to learn every subject in English except for the Nepali language. And those are one of the most reputed kind of private schools. And there are many private schools in my country. So basically, every single student has to learn English. And we were punished if we spoke in our own language, like in front of everyone. So you had, like, it was like you had to speak in English, otherwise you would be punished, and there would be people who would be monitoring if you were speaking English or not, like the spies, and they would write your name and submit it to the teachers, and the next day in the assembly you would be punished.
Wow.
Just because you were speaking in English. And I remember one instant, I used to be one of those person who would write the names, and then I was on the line for the toilet, and then someone just asked me, have you done this homework or not, in Nepali? And then I said, Taina, which means no, in my language. And one of the girls heard me, and she was like, I'm going to take revenge on you, and she wrote my name.
So these people, are they forced to do this by someone? I mean, do some people tell them that they should do this?
Like writing the names, like the spies? No, it's like you just do it yourself.
Wow.
You just want to be better in front of the teachers.
Okay. Okay, so did you like this, that you only had to speak English?
In the beginning, I was more of a teacher's pet during my 3rd or 4th grade, and I used to write them because I was the monitor of the class, and then I wanted my friends to speak in English as well. But as I grew older, I felt like you need to embrace your own language as well, because as a result of speaking English so much, the students in my country don't really know how to write in Nepali, because Nepali is much more complex than English is. And then, like, it is not good when you're older.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
if you want to work in any kind of government offices, you need to know how to write in Nepali. But turns out they don't really know how to write it now.
Yeah,
And most of the adults struggle with writing in Nepali. They can speak well, but they don't really have the vocabulary to write in their own language.
Let's talk about your IELTS test and also your scores. So can you tell us about your scores?
Overall, I got 8 points in my IELTS test. If I remember it correctly, I got 7 for speaking, and I think I got like 7 or 8. And for reading, I got 9, and for listening, I think it was 8. And for writing, I think it was 7 or 8. I'm not sure about it.
Okay, that's really nice. Really good scores.
Yeah, I really didn't expect that would happen to me, because I kind of froze in the middle of my listening test, because you only get to hear it once.
Yeah.
And the room I was in had such high level of AC there. And I was really freezing, and at a point I just froze, and I completely forgot like what I hear just now, and then I just did the answer randomly, but I still got 9 in listening.
Yeah, I mean, despite the condition, you did a really good job.
Yeah. Also, like, turns out it's not only how much you prepare, but also the other factors that contribute to your exams.
Yeah, exactly. Like the area, the environment that you're sitting.
Yeah.
The condition.
External sounds.
Exactly. So, which score are you most satisfied with?
Obviously, listening and reading. Speaking, I expected to get more than 7, but it was fine. In overall, I got 8, and I was happy about it.
But do you think there was something that really influenced that? I mean, on the test day?
Yeah, I think it could be because it was during the COVID times, and then everything would be so strict. And the room in which the speaking test was, we were divided by a screen, and I had to speak on a microphone. Also, the person wasn't actually on the other side of the screen. It was actually just a laptop. And it was more of like a web conference rather than speaking to the person itself. And I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a contributing factor, because I was speaking on a microphone rather than speaking to the person directly. And I don't think the microphone did the best job, because even when the other person was speaking, I couldn't hear him properly because there were some kind of noises in the background.
The equipment, the situation, everything can have an effect. And I think maybe that can also have an effect on the written test, because you know, during the written test you have to also wear a mask the whole time.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes problems for you when you want to really breathe.
Yeah.
What did you study for each skill? I mean, to improve each skill.
I studied on my own. I had a book with me, which was the Cambridge English test for the IELTS. And I got the book, I had the CD and everything, and then I started learning it. I think I just started learning it randomly without thinking of my test date. So I would just go to the pages and then see what the content is. But after a certain point, I felt like I wouldn't get anywhere with just reading the books. I need to start watching videos, and I need to start practicing, because I've spoken English all my life. I've studied with the language. So I think I just know this better, and I just need to practice now. So right before I took my test date, and then I practiced for 2 weeks straight. I was not working at that time, so I had plenty of time with me. So I stayed at home, and then I would just practice the mock tests that I would find online. I did it for speaking. I would speak with the people in the YouTube videos. Like, they have these videos in which they ask you a question and they give you a little bit of time and you can speak. I practiced it like that for the speaking. For the listening, I did the mock test, same for the reading. And for writing, I didn't practice much, but I just did it like maybe last 2 days. I looked like what things are important to write about.
So, what's your advice for those who want to take the IELTS test?
I think the first thing is to take it seriously, because until and unless you take it seriously, I don't think you can get through it. Because my friends have been trying to give the IELTS test, but they haven't taken it seriously because they work and they have other things to do. So you really need to separate your time to learn, and other thing is the model, how everything is divided. So if you just know the basic content and what kind of questions they are going to ask, I think it's enough.
I see all the time some students who work, they don't want to stop working, and they also at the same time they want to also get a very good score and be prepared for IELTS, and they say, okay, we have 6 months, we have to go to work, we can only take 1 session a week, so that's not gonna happen.
So the fact that it was during COVID, and I really utilized that time, and they had the lockdown, so I was at home, I was working, but I didn't really have to do it all the time. So I just practiced my English better.
Okay, but I mean, you cannot say that it was only 2 weeks that you...
No, actually I got the book 2 months before. And then I used to go with the pages and like make myself familiar with everything. But like I dedicated 2 weeks like only for IELTS. I did nothing else. I would wake up in the morning and start practicing. It was just that, because I had just left my job at that time, and I was really dedicated for getting a better score to get into a good university.
People should understand that you had a really good background in English, so your general English was really good, and then in a short time you could manage to like get familiar with the test and the format and the questions and stuff. Did you specifically study something for listening, because that was your highest score? Something that was different for the other skills, maybe?
I don't think it was anything different. I've been watching English TV shows and movies all my life, so that could be one of the contributing factors, because like it really improves with your speaking and listening skills. And I also practiced a lot of mock tests because I loved listening and writing it. And the most I practiced was for listening.
Do you know anything about Iran?
I do know a few things.
Okay, what do you know?
After being with you for a semester and then just some background knowledge, I know that it used to rule most of Asia, and then the capital is Tehran, and they have beautiful carpets. It's like one of the
Right.
yeah. And even in my home, we have Iranian Persian carpets, and I love
That's really nice.
like every carpet that comes to our in Nepal is usually the Persian carpets. They could have been the knockoff version, but in my home we have the authentic one, and
it makes us feel nice. Have you ever, before me, have you ever seen any other person from Iran?
no, you are the first one I ever met.
Okay. So, would you like to visit Iran one day?
Sure. Yeah, I would love to visit the place and then have the food.
Yeah, the food is really great.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. There are lots of touristic areas that you can go to. We have really, great cities with great architecture, touristic areas. So yeah, I really recommend it. Say, a very tiny little thing in Persian.
Okay.
So, please say I love you, which will be Dusetun daram in Persian.
Can you say that again?
Dusetun daram.
Duse tundaram.
Yeah, could you look at the camera and say that?
Duse tundaram.
Nice. Any last words?
Yeah, since I said I love you in your language, I want you to say that in my language.
Wow, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, it's like, so you are saying it to someone. It's not in general, but you say Ma timilai maya gorsu. Ma timilai maya gorsu.
Gorsu.
Yeah, perfect.
Ma timilai maya gorsu.
Yay!
Yeah? I think we can now say goodbye. It was a really nice talk. Thank you for your time. We had a really enjoyable conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the people are going to use the tips about the language learning thing a lot.
Yeah, I had a really good time. I had so much fun today.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so everyone, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram, rojas.english and rojas.ielts.